Today we are talking about a horror writer that has wrote both somewhat good miniseries and bad miniseries, and his name is
John C.
Joking. Today we're actually taking a look at Stephen King. Now let me be clear, he's made some good stuff, but I mainly know him from his bad stuff. So naturally I'm going to exploit the crap out of that. So today we're taking a look at the Fart Knockers. Oops, Tommy Knockers. See, he used Ninja Turtle font. Teenage Mutant Stephen King, Teenage Mutant Stephen King miniseries power. And we meet the best actor in all of fiction, Jimmy Smith. I don't know who Jimmy Smith is, but I love that name. I want him in Smash Bros. Our film opens up on a guy running through the woods while you can hear in the back girl shouting Tommy Knockers. Although, personally, I hope they don't knock on my door because I want to stay socially distant. Comes across a woman. See, kids? That's what happens when you have too much green eggs and ham. Our totally exciting horror-filled thriller starts with a small town. Yes, very scary. Suburban neighborhoods. So our film opens up on a little boy talking to his grandpa about how his dad sucks. And then his grandpa gives him a magic kit. And then the grandpa says, well, only old people and children can believe in magic, and grown-ups can't. The little kid goes, well, aren't you a grown-up? And then the old guy goes, no, I'm old, that's something different. Which that obviously means if old people know what magic is, that means my grandpa's a wizard.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Why am I in this? I'm not a wizard. Now get me out of your weird Harry Potter bullcrap. I need to go back to do my normal old people stuff and get back to reviewing Tommy Knockers instead of Harry Potter. So an officer named Officer Roof is showing the kids around for a field trip. Officer Roof and the kids enter a room where she shows off her doll collection. What police station would allow you to keep dolls just lying around? Man, the mental evaluation has really gone downhill if they let hoarders into the cops. Seriously. Officer Roof offers to show the kid around after one of the dolls scares the kid. Because the doll scares the kid. And since she's a cop, I figured she should know that that's illegal on so many levels. You can't just take a kid unless it's on a field trip or with parents' permission. Anyway, we cut to a writer taking her dog for a walk when she finds something strange in her backyard. Wow, that dog just drank Ecto Cooler from the Ghostbusters! And guess what? We meet a poet that's an alcoholic. Never seen that in a Stephen King story. And he's from Maine. Never heard of that either. The poet feels like he can't write a poem unless he has a drink, so he's very nervous about his poem recital coming up soon.
How loving can God be when he makes...
It turns out that everyone likes his poem except for one lady. Remember that dog from earlier? The one that got infected with that green stuff? Well, we cut back to the dog and the owner, and apparently the dog has still been acting weird after getting infected with the green stuff, and it turns out that that lady's name is Bobby, which means I can play this.
God dang it, Bobby!
Anyway, remember how I mentioned that the lady with the dog is a writer? It turns out that the writer and a poet used to be an item, so she's trying to get in contact with her poet friend, but her poet friend is in the middle of delivering the poem to ask him what he thinks of why her dog is acting weird. Hey, Bobby goes back to that dig site, and no, not the Bobby from King of the Hill, just thought I'd clear that up again. You know that place where the dog turned green and then started acting weird? She goes back to that place, she touches some of that stuff after digging, and she gets infected too. Think of it as Sauron's ring from Lord of the Rings, but it's green, and it makes you obsessed with it.
Published? When's the last poem you wrote that was any good? You may fool them, but you don't fool me. You're nothing but a drunk gardener. Always were, always will be.
The poet gets rightfully upset, so he starts getting drunk, and
Hey. Caramba! Hey, come on. You stupid ass! Andale!
Well, I see he's learned his moves from Mary Poppins, but if he says spit spot, you're finished!
If you remember nothing else in this world, remember this. God hates a coward.
know we're supposed to feel bad for him on that one, but I had to edit that scream in. It was just too perfect. Yeah, so the guy that fell out the window, the poet, gets picked up by a cop, and then we learn that he has a metal plate in his head. Remember that for later. Anyway, the kid that got a magic kit, he makes a new magic trick after touching some of that green stuff that infects people like Sauron's rings and makes them smarter. And he has a little brother, and then he accidentally becomes too good at his magic and makes his little brother disappear. So the whole town goes searching.
Your way. I'll put you under arrest.
Under arrest?
Really, Ben? Jingles, could you get the hell away from her?
Okay, boys. I just wish you'd known better than to come snooping around like this.
Hold it right there now. Put up your hands.
Come on, Ben.
I mean it, lady. Put them up.
Do as he says, ma'am.
You wouldn't stop a lady from putting on a little lipstick, would you? Some people call it final passion. I call it final surprise. Bye-bye, boys.
Did she just use a laser made out of lipstick? That's ridiculous even for Stephen King standards. Next thing you're gonna tell me is that if I pick up this cup right here, I'm gonna clone myself. Poet was captured, but he wasn't turned, he's just been captured. Anyway, we cut over to the grandpa and the one policeman that hasn't been infected, so they go out to look for answers to try to figure out what the heck is going on.
All quiet in there, too.
Yeah, it's too damn quiet. Maybe you're poison, old-timer. Diet?
Let's live a little, make it original.
Still a high roller, huh?
Then let's head for the woods, huh?
Come on, stupid. Damn thing's got a hold of me.
What? What should I do?
I got a little bit of a problem here.
Should I do something?
Yeah, just unplug it.
It's already unplugged.
Wow, a Coke machine just killed. Okay, let's wrap up the last bit of plot summary because this review is going on for too long. It turns out that green stuff was secretly brain enhancers, like a drug. Every time a human touches it, it infects them, and aliens placed it there so they could slowly mind control the human race into rebuilding the spaceship that they crashed. So, after that poet escapes capture, like I mentioned earlier, he fights the aliens, and then they rescue the kid that went missing from the magic trick that I mentioned earlier, and then the movie just sort of stops with the spaceship exploding and that girl named Bobby and the dog walking home. Now for my thoughts on the film. Acting wise, it's better than Langoliers. In fact, I would say overall the quality is better than Langoliers. So if you're just outright looking for quality, then this is the way to go. But if you're looking for just over-the-top entertainment value, go with Langoliers. Also, something I noticed is that this thing is basically a Mountain Dew ad. Think about it. Green stuff. They get addicted to it. They try to give Pepsi a bad name. It makes so much sense. This is secretly a Mountain Dew commercial. But anyway, on to the real thing I noticed. This kind of reminds me of a drug PSA. And you may be going, what? Now, I don't know if Stephen King was ever on drugs, but if he was, this would be where I decided, because the green stuff is like a drug. at first it slowly helps you out like how many other drugs would, but then slowly affects you and you become addicted to it. So that green stuff is kind of like a drug. So if Stephen King was ever on drugs, I assume this is when he made that film, because this is like a long drug PSA, to be honest. But yeah, overall the film is better in quality than Langolier, so on the miniseries scale, Tommyknockers win. One more thing before you click off the video. Sorry, I forgot to mention this, but I feel like the twist could have been done a bit better. I felt like the twist was kind of boring compared to Langolier's. At least that was a smart and unique concept, but this was just aliens, and I thought that was sort of boring. I mean, he's made stuff like Children of the Corn and Langolier's, and then we just get this boring alien twist. Anyway, that's all.